So I know we kind of talked about wanting to do a little interview stuff today, but like I shared with you, I'm feeling just like foggy brained. I'm not feeling like 100% myself. And so we kind of talked about let's just do the process instead of talking about the process. Let's just show the process in real time, like how we can work with our symptoms in real time.
Yeah, I think it could be cool for people to see how we support each other as friends with this kind of knowledge and background, and how having an awareness about somatic processing and similar things can support you in your everyday life when you're talking to people. So just a disclaimer that this isn't like a session, but more like an intuitive, organic application of what that looks like in a friendship. So you mentioned you feel like anxious earlier, which translates now to a foggy feeling.
Let me sink in what's been going on. My symptom is that I've been having a lot of thoughts and I've been just trying to like solve a lot of like relational problems intellectually, and I can see that that's happening. I'm aware that I have anger and sadness, and I'm having a lot of just overwhelming feelings. Yeah, a lot of overwhelming feelings. It's hard too, I'm noticing, because what I want to say to you, I don't want to say to everybody about what's going on.
Well, yeah, why don't we just talk like normal and then we can grab snippets?
It's this like neurotic, like it feels just like this impulse. It feels like something needs to happen outside of me for me to be okay. Because it brings up so much anxiety in me, my brain can't really even articulate. You get so much brain fog as an anxiety symptom. I think it's an anxiety symptom. My body is communicating that something feels unresolved. My brain isn't functioning at a high enough pace to be able to organize what's happening in my body. So I just have a lot of body sensations of discomfort. My mind's trying to make sense of that, but it's just coming out in judgments and urgency and protection. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where do you feel it in your body?
My chest is tight, and I notice that I feel kind of tired.
I feel like that often when I'm angry. I'll then get really foggy and tired. It's kind of like when you're like nearing a wound you don't want to go towards, and I feel like it puts up these warning, turn away now signs, but it's like brain fog and tiredness, and that
I know that I'm
that's
angry.
painful.
I think I'm just having a hard time metabolizing that anger.
So right now you feel tension in your chest and you feel foggy in your mind. If you were a client and we were doing somatic processing, I would have you like for a moment just breathe deeply and welcome these feelings in, imagining you're like giving them a warm hug, because they push them away, which is normal and they're painful, so of course. But what if we just give them a hug?
Feels good.
Yeah, when I'm here with you, I'm hearing that it's a lot and it's painful, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, it feels good to like hug this like panicked part of me. That's what I'm visualizing. It feels good. I have these symptoms. I turn against myself because I'm so frustrated that they're happening, and I get to this place of like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, your body's wise though. It's just some part that wants to be witnessed more. So maybe we can do that. Like if you were to really turn towards this tension in your chest, maybe we can start with that. Yeah, a couple directions we could go with it. But intuitively, what do you feel like is the best direction? Seeing what age that feeling is, or just opening up to anything it wants to tell you?
I feel like I need to let it speak. It's like, I'm so fucking sick of this. I'm so fucking sick of feeling this way. Like there's just so much like anger, and it's really panicked. It's a really panicked, like there's a lot of energy. It's like almost overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. When I feel like that, I begin by connecting to the earth, like feeling my feet, my lower body, and imagining this like golden cord of connection, like an umbilical cord almost, between my body and the core of the earth. And just feel yourself and your connection to the web of life as a creature of this earth, connected to the root system as all beings are, where all sorts of information and resources are shared. And you're also connected via your breath in this field of energy and air around you. And yeah, see if you can breathe in some warmth and comfort and connection, and exhale some of that heaviness or panic. Not like you're getting rid of it, but you're just letting the other beings hold it with you.
Thanks for being with me in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vulnerability in relationships is so scary. It makes sense that some part of you feels panicked.
Yeah. It's crazy that I'm even noticing so much self-preservation in this moment. Whatever we're tapping in on, like whatever's coming up for me, it has to be really, really deep. Deepest wound shit, because I feel defenses against you of like, this is too much. I don't want to, that I'm gonna like overwhelm you, or that this is like too, like I'm feeling that. Even though
Mm,
like I know that I'm safe with you, that the story's like, I should just like end this call and I should just like go to sleep. It's like like wants to like
mm,
run and shut down this part so bad. I want to like isolate. I have the impulse to like put my phone on airplane mode and cancel my clients. If I can't be witnessed in this state, then I'm safe, which that makes me want to cry. Wow.
mm,
Really sad.
mm,
Because that's how it felt as a kid. Yeah, like it really doesn't feel safe to be witnessed in this. Oof.
mm.
This feels good to process though.
Yeah, I'm here with you, and we can end anytime or take a
Yeah.
pause anytime. It must have been really painful to feel it's safer to be alone than to be held in most vulnerable
Yeah, I think the
moments.
impulse is to reach for connection, and then it's I'm reaching to connection to people who can't meet me or whatever, fill in the blank. It builds and it builds and it builds and it builds until I lash out or freak out or, panic. And then it actually like is too much, right? It's like
Mhm.
lashing out. And so it's a defense on top of a defense on top of a defense, or oh, none of those other things are working. And so the last line of defense is like freeze state. And it's like just shut it all down. It's
Yeah,
not safe. God, it's so sad.
yeah, it's hard. Do you want to go into the feeling more, or
I
do you want a
think
break?
I want to check on you as my friend, make sure you're feeling okay. And then if you're feeling okay, I will. But if not, that's you feeling
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I feel grateful to have the opportunity to support you in a difficult moment. That's how I feel. Yeah, it doesn't feel heavy or hard, and I trust you as well to navigate it. You're one of like the strongest people I know, and you're really good at moving through the emotional world, but we all need each other, and it's okay.
okay? Damn. Safer for me to be in the other role, I'm realizing at this moment. Like, it's vulnerable to receive it. Even though I receive it from you all the time, you know what I mean? We're constantly doing this for each other, but it's just, oh, yeah, I have serious wounding on this part of me being too much for people. Yeah.
Mm.
And I think I soothe, not to intellectualize it too much, I'll get into the feeling in a second, but like I'm realizing that I soothe the part of me that's too much by helping other people not feel too much.
What I'm hearing is that there's a part of you that has remained unseen and unwitnessed, that feels like it's too much and it's been unseen and unwitnessed. And you've been witnessing that part in the way you knew how, which was to witness other
Yeah.
people's similar part. And so it's kind of like when you meet a new kid and they're playing with a toy and they don't look at you and they don't really want anything to do with you, but you go and sit next to them and like play with the same toy. That's how I see that. It's like you're showing this part of you, like, see, I can witness it in other people. Like, I'll get to the point where I can witness it in you, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just been a step towards being able to do
Yeah.
that, which is really sweet. Yeah. If you're open to exploring it, I wonder if there's a way we can witness that
Let's do it.
part right
I'm
now.
ready.
Okay. Well, if you close your eyes and take a couple deep breaths and just like notice how your body feels, notice the sensations, feel that connection to the web of life, feel the earth itself reaching up to hold you. Imagine that the whole world loves you, like the world
Mm-hmm.
itself just loves you and is like cheering you on, because there's been all this darkness and we're all tasked now with letting some love into those dark places. So the world loves you, it's holding you, it's rising up to meet you and embrace you. And what do you notice in terms of the sensations in your chest and in your body? Like what do you feel?
Honestly, when you said the world loves you, it was so soothing. A lot of the sensations, like, I felt like so much
Yeah.
more calm, and it's fun too because the sun came out. I feel like it's been just like gray, overcast, and that's like how I was feeling. The sun came out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
the world loves me.
I'm
Yeah, it is soothing and kind of like, whoa. Even though that's like the world, the way that we function, it's just like weird when it
Yeah.
confirms, the synchronicities confirm our beliefs, you know? I've noticed that there's like way less brain fog and I feel calm in my body way more. It's weird, Cora.
I was recently listening to a book in one of the practices. It was a practice about just feeling your heart beating. And he was saying that when you tune into your heart beating, you're present. Like you can't be anything but present when you're tuning into that connection. It's the soothing thing. If there's a part of us that feels exiled and unwitnessed and all of that, bringing in presence seems to be enough a lot of the time. When you feel about, it's actually even a better question, but when you think about your relationship from this place, how do you feel?
Way more calm, way more grounded, way less panicked. The sun's coming out again. Mm-hmm. Dang, makes you want to cry. It's like, wait, everything's okay, actually? I don't intellectually understand it, but that's okay because my body feels like everything's okay. Interesting. So, what I'm pulling from this, the one thing I can pull from this intellectually is if I feel loved, then I'm okay. Like, that's really all that we've done, right? It's like, if I know that I'm loved, that's really where this pain and panic was coming from, is really feeling like this part of me was unlovable. We haven't even really done much with this part directly. I could just feel it's in my mind's eye when I see this part. It's in a dark room, you know, it was like panicking and talking a mile a minute. I can feel my hands on her back. And I'm like, yeah, sweetie, you're loved. You're just loved. And I can like stand her up and just hug her. You're safe and you're loved. I know you've experienced so much rejection and pain and abandonment and feeling misunderstood, and you're loved and you're safe. And it's so crazy, but I can feel her smiling and squeezing me. All the panic was fear that I wasn't loved. I'll be really curious to see how this settles after we're done here. You know what I mean? Because I have been in such high anxiety.
I think we are in agreement that anxiety and perhaps panic, it shows us there's some kind of like repressed emotion there. I don't know if it's always anger, but for a lot of people, it probably is anger because anger is so wildly repressed.
Well, I think on some level it was. I just think we bypassed it a little bit. Not in a bad way. Like, if I was actually connecting to that part, oh, I'm not panicked. I'm angry that I'm not being met with gentleness and compassion and love. But then we just gave her gentleness, compassion, and love. So the anger maybe didn't need to be metabolized as much. I don't know. But it was almost like we just went directly to the thing and it dissolved. Resolved that anger, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I do think our natural state is that we're lovable. And I think most of our healing comes from realizing that we were always loved. Whether the people hurting us treated us like we were lovable or not, we were always loved. In a tangible way, the world, the nature, spirits around you, the non-physical beings around you, gifts and conflict of everyone who came before you ancestrally, it all surrounds you and lives within you and wants nothing more than your greatest love and expansion. We're tricked about that. And so I think most of the healing does come from like remembering that we were always loved, that we were always whole, that all is well, without, the key word is without bypassing the truth of the painfulness of all of that.
Yeah. I know we can't fathom this because this is not the realm we work in, but what would you say to somebody who doesn't believe in the spiritual nature of reality? Like, doesn't believe that in ancestors and nature having a spirit? And because for me, when you say that, I'm like, oh my God, it's so soothing because it feels so true to me. But if somebody didn't feel that way, if there was like, what would you say to them?
I think we can all sense and feel that to some degree. And I would point out moments. Have you ever had an experience in nature that was bizarre? Like an animal, like just now, the hummingbird just came right in front of my face on a window. Or you're talking about something and suddenly the sun shines. Or you go and lay under a tree and a leaf falls perfectly. I think everybody's had something like that. And we're conditioned to filter those things out as coincidence and flukes and stuff like that. But what I would say is that the spirit of the world wants to meet you and wants to connect with you. And the moment you reach out to it, it's there to reach back. So if you want it, it's there. If you're not in a place to receive that, that's okay. But it doesn't stop the world from reaching out towards you in connection. And then I would also say that our world has lost connection with its soul. And the fact that we even have this conversation is because of that. And that a big part of our suffering is the grief that we carry from the loss of soul. And it's so big and it's so painful that we can't even acknowledge that that's what it is. But that's often what's at the root of addiction and self-harm and like most of our recycling patterns. The deepest wound is the loss of humanity's connection with soul and with spirit. And it manifests in the form of familial attachment issues, relational attachment issues, like not feeling like you fit in or things like that. The soul of the world is always there, reaching forward to be reconnected with you. And there's always time. Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel good. I do really wonder how I'll feel exiting this call, because then the mind comes online of like, okay, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? Like, I still don't know what to do with this. Maybe I need to take that pressure off of me. Like, there's nothing I have to do. I know there's nothing I have to do. I can just ride the waves of feeling for now.
Yeah. I imagine the what do I have to do is at least partially compulsive action taking to avoid a feared outcome. So what I just heard was, I feel good right now, but I'm afraid I'm going to feel more fear later when I'm not talking to you. And I wonder what you can do, if you want a thing to do, what you can do to feel more connected with yourself. Because what was happening, your first instinct is, I feel afraid that I'm not lovable. And then some other part went, you shouldn't tell anybody you feel that way. Like, don't let anybody know that you feel that way. You gotta hide that you feel that. And so then you feel worse and you feel fearful. And then we brought in some connection, and you show that part of you that you can turn towards her, and you can like allow her to be seen, because she wants to be seen by you. It's helpful to be seen by me, but she really wants to be seen by you. So that's all you have to do, is just keep meeting her. You start to feel afraid after this, it's just like, where does she live? And then just turning towards her wherever she or go outside, or eat some food and like merge with a thing, or lay in the sun and merge with the sun, or look at Todd. It's like any of those things.
This conversation, though, really just speaks to the power of having community and another nervous system, because this morning and last night, I tried to look at this part and tried to hold her, and it just felt like how the gray sky felt. I was technically sitting with her, like trying to love on her, but like there was like just no movement. It was so dense. And something,
notice the first thing that we did was connect to the web of life, because it's true. It can feel hard to hold ourselves, especially those heavy, scary parts, but we don't have to do it alone. And it is okay to let a big, loving thing that's bigger than us love us when it feels hard for us to love ourselves.
I love that. Connecting to the web of life. That's probably going to be a new part of the ritual for me, probably forever. That's really nice. I love that.
Knew this. There was constant connection with the web of life, skin to skin contact, with the natural world and with each other. And then there were ceremonies to metabolize emotion and to release grief. And so huge amounts of generational trauma were not accumulated until the great rift of the soul in the world that's happened. The moment that we were divorced, and our connection from the web of life is the moment generational trauma began to accumulate. Because without the connection to the web of life, it's very difficult to metabolize big and heavy and hard and painful things. So now not only are we experiencing those things in our personal lived lives now, we've also inherited many generations of accumulated grief and sorrow and and trauma. So it makes sense that you struggle to hold your deepest wounds on your own because they're bigger than you. Your wound of this life, but it's also every time any ancestor has ever felt grief or alone.
Yeah, like accumulated over a lifetime. I'm thinking about like all the people who have impacted me and the people who have impacted them. You're so right.
Well, and if you think about how much grief do you think your mom has been able to metabolize of her experience? Probably very little, or to whatever degree she has. And so you're holding all of that. And you live in a culture that is abnormally isolated from each other. The expectation that you should be able to hold it on your own is part of the internalized violence of this rift in the soul of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the web of life is truth. I mean, it's connection. And no wonder when I'm alone in this dark space, it's the biggest illusion ever. It's pure separation from everything, from the web of life, from everything.
Yeah.
Wow. You've just blown my mind. You are one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. I can't believe you're my friend.
That's how I feel. You've helped me so much. I'm very grateful for this opportunity because I've been like, nothing I do matters. And that I have this feeling like I want to reach out and be of service and support people and like play in this web of life. We all have a sacred role, like a little part of the web that we tend to want to do that so bad, and I struggle to know how, and I'm afraid of doing it from a place of like, I'm doing this to make myself feel better or to feel loved. And I also want to do it with integrity, and I don't feel like there's a lot of examples of that. And so I feel afraid of interacting with the system of money and marketing and just economics and finances and business in general, because I don't want to be a part of this thing that I feel like has extracted so much from the people I love and from the world itself. And so I really struggle to feel valuable or needed or helpful, and to separate that from needing to feel that way to feel loved versus just like wanting to be part of this web of life. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to explore that today. Many times we have this weird thing of like, I don't want to ask for help because I don't want to burden someone, but also like what a gift it is to feel like you can help someone you love feel better. Like it's just the most core human desire, feel like we matter to each other.
It's so healing to talk to you, and the relationship that we've cultivated together is like, when you're hurting, I want to be close to you. When I'm hurting, you want to be close to me.
Yeah.
And I think where it gets just so hard is that that's not always the case, right? Like we've done a lot of work on our nervous systems, on our capacity to hold our own experience and then therefore each other's experience, to be able to stay connected to ourselves and each other. And I could bring this to somebody else in the same exact way, and their reaction, their intolerance of it or their lack of capacity to hold it will register, even though it's not, will register to my nervous system as rejection. It confirms that story. You know, because I think I would say part of the reason I've gotten to this really triggered state is because I've brought this to a person and felt like I wasn't met. And so then it put me into this panic of, oh, I'm not connected to the web of, like I put this one person's inability to hold me there or meet me there as I'm disconnected from all of it, you know?
Yeah, I totally get that. I do think it's a symptom of us not having a consistent connection to a loving force that's greater than us. And when we don't have that, we make people our God. That's the first step. And then the second step, this disconnection has been so internalized and so rampant that like indigenous cultures have described it like a parasite, and it burrows itself sneakily into each of our psyches. And it does tell us like, this person is doing something that I need to avoid, or I need to be afraid of someone in pain, you know? So it's so hard, but it is in those moments, it's like, oh fuck, the enemy got you too, you know? Like this thing that we are all suffering in the face of, it internalized itself in you and is now harming me. It's not really your human spirit that's doing that. The book I'm reading now is called The Flowering War by Dr. Oscar Perez. It's beautiful, but he calls it the adversary of the enemy. And the adversary of the enemy is the one, like, gets in our head and tells us we're not lovable and we're separated and is critical. And it's also the one that, like, rejects others and then we feel rejected and that whole thing. But it's helpful to see it that way because it's something that's been, like, implanted in us and has been very systematically and strategically breaking down the will and the connection between humans for multiple generations. And so we are all engaged in this flowering war against the adversary of the enemy, but there's really no war because we've already won all the time because we have this connection and this oneness all the time anyway. Like, even the enemy is a part of the field of oneness that we all exist in anyway. But yeah, something is off about it. And in Indigenous history, there is oral traditions that talk about a time on Earth before this enemy arrived and what that.
What do you make of that? I know we're getting very philosophical now, but what do you think the enemy is? Where did that come from? What is that actually?
I don't know. I have a couple theories. It could be that Earth itself, this planet that we live on, and the energetic reality as well, like the realm of Earth, as it evolves, as we all know on our personal healing journeys, the more you evolve, the more complex and difficult things actually become. Certain things feel easier and simpler, but in general, the whole thing becomes more complex and layered. And so it could be that as the Earth evolves, this layer of complexity and challenge was then introduced, sort of like if you move up levels in a video game, it's like a new boss unlocks. That's a possibility. It does feel obvious to me that it's like inorganic and anti-human, whatever this thing is.
Whatever it is, yeah. Christians would call it the devil.
They might, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they would. The devil, I mean, I feel like mysticism, we call it the ego, we call it the devil, we call it...
It's been called demiurge, I believe. Jung called it that. I want to say it's called the demiurge. Indigenous people have called it Wetiko, which is the mind of this parasite. And they describe it simply as it's a parasite of greed and lust and envy and extraction that's more interested in those things than in the sustaining of human life.
Dang.
I mean, Jung could say the demiurge is like a collective manifestation of all of our fear and pain and trauma.
I think where I always end up in this is like in the not knowing. It takes so much bravery to not know exactly where all this comes from, right? We just feel it. We feel it and we know that if we don't, it doesn't feel correct. But we don't actually know its origins. We have these theories, and yet we still have to, or choose to, want to, like, fight it or overcome it. It's just interesting. I feel like I just want to point that out.
It does feel very similar to when you do a shadow work process. When you engage in shadow work, you know that you'll never fully get all of it. And like that's the nature of the shadow, is that things remain hidden in the darkness, but you're out here fighting the good fight, trying to integrate as it comes up. Yeah, I think it's the nature of the human experience. It's a bit mysterious.
Yeah. We are brave souls being here on this planet. Oh my God.
I agree.
This place is crazy, dude.
It really is.
This place is crazy, but it's, way more tolerable with you as my friend.
No, I feel the same way. I've been feeling so grateful for our friendship.
Community living, here we come. All right.